I had a really strange feeling on my commute this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the temperature was exactly the same as yesterday, but it just felt warmer, comfortable even. And I realized it wasn't the weather.
It was the flow.
Exactly. It was that collective rhythm,
Yeah.
everyone moving together, that quiet connection.
That feeling, that subtle warmth, is the perfect place for us to start today. We're going to take that exact feeling and use it as a kind of diagnostic tool.
Okay.
Our sources today are a really powerful reflection on Indifference by Apollonio Carvalho Nascimento, and we're analyzing it through the lens of Martino Kim's Terra Nova Flow philosophy, TNF.
And our mission for this deep dive is to go beyond just summarizing. We're going to perform a full root cause analysis, an RCA on indifference itself.
Right. We want to understand its architecture, how it actually works to break connection.
So we're looking for the why and the how of disconnection.
Precisely.
Okay, let's dive in then. Starting with Nascimento's definition, because it's just so potent. He calls indifference silent distance. It doesn't hurt you with words or actions, but with absence. And he says this makes it one of the cruelest forms of abandonment, an engineered void.
It is. And from the TNF perspective, the first thing to get is that indifference is never passive. It's not just forgetting.
It's a choice.
It's an active choice to not see, to not listen. The sources call it an active act of erasure. You're deliberately deleting a connection point from your reality.
But, my first instinct, and I'm sure a lot of people listening feel this, is to defend it.
Of course.
We live in such an overloaded world. We're tired, we're bombarded with information. Sometimes ignoring things feels like a survival strategy, right?
Yeah.
And so why did the sources say ignoring someone is actually an act of self-erasure?
And that is the absolute core of it. This is where TNF really departs from, a lot of modern self-care ideas.
How so?
It's based on principle two. We think of ourselves as separate islands, but the world is fundamentally interconnected. So when you interact with someone, they act as a mirror.
A mirror.
A mirror that reflects your own existence, your own place in reality.
So by seeing them, I'm actually confirming that I'm here too.
Precisely. You confirm your own location through that mutual recognition. So what happens when you choose indifference? You extinguish that mirror.
And that reflection of myself just vanishes.
It vanishes. And the consequences, your own sense of existence, your own world, it starts to fade. It shrinks.
Can you give me a real-world example of that?
Yeah.
How does ignoring someone shrink my own reality?
Okay. Think about an office. Someone ignores a coworker's success. Or maybe at home, someone just shuts down when their partner tries to be vulnerable. In that moment, they might feel powerful or maybe just relieved that they don't have to deal with it. But what they've actually done is delete that celebration or that vulnerability from their shared world.
So they've set a new rule for that space.
If you set a rule, we don't see joy or pain here. And that rule, that absence, defines their world just as much. They become more isolated, more existentially brittle.
Wow. So indifference isn't just cruel, it's strategically self-defeating.
That's a great way to put it. And the TNF RCA, it has a technical term for it, a quiet valve closure.
A quiet valve closure, like turning off a tap.
Exactly. You just quietly turn it off, and the relationship's flow rate drops to zero.
Okay, that takes us right into the structural diagnosis. Let's get into the root cause analysis itself.
Let's do it. It helps us move past just blaming people and lets us see the system failure.
So where does the RCA start?
It starts with the problem definition, the as-is versus the to-be.
Okay.
The as-is, the current state, is often described with this chilling phrase, air treatment.
Being treated like you're not there.
Because of no response. That subtle, critical zero. No words, no expression, no action. And that stagnation just spirals into misunderstanding, isolation, cynicism.
And the goal, the to-be state, what are we aiming for?
This is key. The goal isn't to solve the conflict. It's not even about agreeing.
Okay.
The goal is the absolute bare minimum flow required for existence acknowledgement. The signal is simply, I see you. That's it.
So the problem is solved when presence is confirmed, not when the issue is resolved.
Exactly. The problem isn't the disagreement, it's the erasure.
That's a powerful distinction.
Right.
So if that's the problem, what are the warning lights, the observable effects?
The RCA gets really specific here. You see things like eye contact avoidance, someone's name being called and just deliberately ignored.
Oh, that's brutal.
It is. Or someone's presence being completely deleted from a conversation, necessary information just stops flowing. But the clearest sign, when the reaction to another person's joy or their suffering converges completely to zero.
And the person experiencing that feels like they're being erased from reality.
Exactly. Functionally invisible.
Yeah.
So now we have to ask the big question. Why? What is it about our world and our choices that leads to this? This is the flow structure causes.
Right. We've seen the symptoms. What's the disease? What in our environment makes this seem like a rational choice?
The causes come in two layers. The first is the condition cause. This is the structural, environmental stuff.
The big picture.
Yeah. We're in a state of, chronic resource depletion, overload from work, fatigue, constant information. Our empathy just burns out.
And some environments even reward it?
They do, especially corporate ones, where this idea of coldness equals professional is a real thing. Emotional distance becomes a sign of competence. Our digital tools don't help either. They can train us to treat people like tickets in a queue.
So the system itself pushes us toward this. That's the structural pressure. But it's still a choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the action cause?
That's layer two, the personal choices and habits. This is things like repeated response delay, putting off a reply to avoid discomfort.
We've all done that.
Of course. You wait until it feels less urgent, but what that really means is you wait until the person feels less relevant. Then there's this really insidious belief that intervention creates responsibility.
So we stay distant to avoid getting pulled into something.
Exactly. And finally, there's the habit of fleeing from empathy and just evaluating or judging them instead. You objectify them.
I see that switch happen all the time. Your brain goes from this person is struggling to this person is annoying me and messing up my schedule.
And that's the moment. That's the valve closing. Which brings us to the internal loop breakpoints, the specific places it fails inside your own head.
Okay.
It's a three-stage failure. First, perception defect. You're so distracted you literally don't even register the signal. Second, the evaluation distortion you just described, framing them as too much or attacking me. And that leads to the final stage.
Which is?
Choice paralysis. You just choose zero action because it feels like the safest, least draining path.
Okay, that paints a really complete picture of the failure. But let's start with the final diagnosis, the core root cause hypothesis.
Right.
Earlier, the source is called indifference, one of the cruelest forms of abandonment. But the TNF verdict is different. It says indifference is the state of a human in power-saving mode, where the flow of love is low and the cost of connection seems too high. Isn't power-saving mode a little, I don't know, too forgiving for something so cruel?
That's a really important tension to sit with. The TNF framework doesn't excuse the cruelty of the effect. It's diagnosing the root cause.
Okay.
The problem isn't usually that the person is actively malicious or hateful. The problem is that they are so overloaded they're trying to survive by cutting power to their connection systems. In that depleted state, the perceived cost of engagement, the time, the emotion, the responsibility, it just feels astronomically high.
So survival mode overrides connection mode, and connection starts to look like a threat, not a power source.
Exactly. The human is trying to stay afloat by shrinking their world, and in doing so, they cut off the other person's lifeline.
Wow. Okay, so if the problem is a stressed-out human in power-saving mode, how do we begin to restore that flow? How do we flip that switch back on?
We have to start by understanding what's actually being asked of us.
Yeah.
Every single person is carrying what the sources call a complete world inside them.
A complete world.
Yeah, a silent world of questions and wounds and dreams. And that inner world isn't shouting, it's quietly asking one fundamental question.
And that is?
Can you see me?
Just that. Can you see me?
That's it. And it's so critical to understand that seeing is not about offering solutions or giving advice.
In fact, the sources say that often blocks real seeing.
It absolutely does, because it makes it about our need to fix things. Offering a solution when only recognition was asked for, that's just a higher form of indifference.
So what is the answer then?
The required answer is profoundly simple. You just pause, you don't run away, you acknowledge the basic fact of their existence, and you quietly state, I see.
I see.
That sentence, that simple acknowledgement of a shared reality, that's the basic unit of flow restoration.
And this brings us back to that deep irony we mentioned earlier. This isn't just about being a good person for someone else's benefit.
Not at all.
Responding to that plea for existence is actually an act of self-affirmation.
It is. When you recognize their presence, you confirm your own ability to connect. You confirm your own place in the system. You're saying, you are here, which means the system is working, and my being here is also valid and safe.
So restoring their world actually restores your own.
Every time.
Okay, so that understanding gives us a path forward. A design for restoration. How does the RCA guide us with practical steps?
Well, TNF Principle 4 is clear. Control is temporary. The only lasting solution is flow restoration.
So we need steps to override that power-saving mode.
Exactly. And the RCA gives us some, starting with what you can do right now, the immediate action, or the 1-minute fix.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
When you're in that overloaded state, the goal is only existence acknowledgement, not problem solving.
Got it.
So imagine your inbox is a disaster and a colleague sends a long emotional email. Instead of ignoring it for a week, you send back one line.
What does it say?
I read this, you are important. I can't engage fully right now, but I will reply in detail by Friday at 3 p.m.
Ah, so you're bypassing the resource depletion. You're not solving the problem, but you are confirming their existence and your intent. You're managing the flow, not stopping it.
You got it. Or think even smaller. A 2-second bit of eye contact in the hallway. A nod. Saying the person's name. It's all it takes to keep the flow rate above 0.
That handles the immediate crisis. What about the core cure? How do we retrain ourselves to lean toward connection?
That's what the sources call the core cure. The idea is that flow has to be restarted by the smallest technology of love.
And love here isn't some grand romantic emotion.
Not at all. It's defined as the positive energy that just seeks to restore connection. It's the tiny decision to lean in rather than pull away.
It's the minimal energy required to just crack that valve open again.
Just enough for the signal of acknowledgement to get through. It's choosing curiosity over judgment, even for a second.
You know, that connects so perfectly to that song concept in the sources, I am here, you are too.
Yes.
The music isn't a shout, it's not an explanation. It's just a simple, gentle confirmation.
It's confirmation over explanation. It confirms presence, connection, gentle recognition, and quiet warmth. That's the residue of a healthy, restoring flow.
So let's bring this all the way back around. We started with indifference as this aggressive absence, this erasure.
Right. And we learned that ignoring others is a self-inflicted wound because our existence is mirrored in theirs.
The RCA showed us it's a symptom of a human in power-saving mode, activated by intense stress.
And crucially, the solution isn't complicated. It's simple recognition. The choice to see, that's what restores the flow of existence.
Which explains my commute this morning. That warmth wasn't the weather. It was the temperature of flow from thousands of tiny, unsaid moments of mutual acknowledgement, just people registering that others exist.
That's the state of awareness we're aiming for. Which leads me to a final thought for you to take away, something from TNF Principle 5.
Okay.
We are not just consumers of flow. We are not passively reacting to the world. We are architects of it. We are active designers of connection.
Architects of flow. I like that.
So, if indifference breaks the flow and simple recognition restores it, the question to ask yourself is this. Where in your life, with a family member, a colleague, maybe even an ignored feeling inside yourself, where can you be an architect of flow today by simply choosing not to look away?